Hi, this is Hank reporting from Kyiv, and this is my update on Russian-Ukrainian war. Let's see what happened around Ukraine in the last 24 hours. OKHMATDIT Hospital Day 3. Patriots are on the way. 70 days under siege. Traitor received life sentence. Air package from New Zealand. Cannibal Lunch. Why Modi came to Russia. Today the third day of clearing the rubble of the OKHMATDIT Hospital, which Russians destroyed on Monday. Volunteers and services are working to eliminate the consequences. 30 countries have already officially expressed their proposals to accept the affected children for treatment. Ukraine has convened an emergency meeting of the UN because of this terrorist attack, and I can't even imagine how it will go, because Russia is the chairman of the UN Security Council this month. It's just some kind of a joke. The country holding the Security Council will consider its own terrorist attack. Stephen King, the king of horrors, has been supporting us since the early days of the invasion, and he is shocked by this turn, and George Orwell would simply faint. On this map you see the red dots. These are Ukrainian hospitals that have been attacked by Russia over the past 30 months of war. Surely you saw this photo from the maternity hospital in Mariupol, which Russian aircraft bombed at the beginning of the full-scale invasion in 2022 and of course denied everything. By the way, guess who was born in this maternity hospital? This video is unique. You see those exact Russian missiles flying to the OKHMATDIT hospital. Literally, this is the same launch. This video was filmed by fishermen in the Caspian Sea. War in the time of smartphones and the internet is some kind of weird virtual reality. I don't know what to add here. The investigation is ongoing. The clearing of the rubble continues. Ukraine continues to fight back. The world continues to watch a bloody show. I will leave a link to an article about the damaged Ukrainian hospitals under this video. Information has appeared in the media that Israel now removed the last of the Patriot air defense batteries from the combat duty, which they practically didn't use, and are sending them to retirement. In total, they have 8 Patriot systems, and now the United States is negotiating to buy them back and possibly transfer to Ukraine. After the terrorist attack in Kyiv, the world community finally began to fuss, and we have the following progress. Germany has already transferred another Patriot battery recently. The United States will provide the Patriot battery as Biden announced. Romania, the Netherlands, and Sweden will together provide 2 more Patriot systems. Italy will provide the SAMP-T system similar to Patriots. These are all confirmed statements. Of course, promises takes time and it costs lives. I really want to believe that the allies will act faster than Putin's pilots. In addition to the 5 air defense systems mentioned above, we have unofficial information about the dozen of smaller ones and another 4 Patriot systems from other countries, and possibly about 8 systems that are being removed from the duty in Israel. Let's summarize. At minimum, we will get 5 more top-end air defense systems, and at maximum, 17 systems. Zelensky asked for at least 7 to cover the largest cities. The reality will be somewhere in the middle. For 70 days, soldiers of the 225th Assault Brigade and the 223rd Battalion of the Ukrainian Marine Corps held a perimeter defense while being surrounded without the possibility of rotation. For more than 2 months, the Ukrainian armed forces fought their way to the fighters who found themselves in such a deadly situation. The only way to deliver water, food, medicine, and ammunition was drones. With the help of unmanned technologies, our military delivered everything they needed to places where it was impossible to travel due to the fire-covered terrain. At the first opportunity, after 70 days of exhausting fighting, the fighters were put on rotation and are now recovering in hospitals. The comment reports that soon there will be an interview with these brave participants in this heroic battle, and we will find out the details. We live in a time of real heroes. Books will be written and films will be made about both the battle for Mariupol, which lasted 86 days, and similar operations like this. Historical times. The Ukrainian Security Service arrested the traitor who was transmitting information to Russians about the movement of military equipment by rail. The criminal turned out to be an assistant locomotive driver. According to the instructions of Russian intelligence, he transmitted data on the routes along which heavy equipment and ammunition for Ukrainian armed forces were transferred, as well as information and volumes. Now, this man has been arrested and faces life imprisonment and confiscation of all property, which means that Russia is unlikely to exchange him as a prisoner of war. He is of no value to them because he already conveyed all the information. Now, this man will spend the rest of his days in prison. What a stupid move. Judging by the photo, he is still young enough and could help his country, be useful, or at least just live normal life. It seems to me that people who just want to make money this way should think before making a deal with the enemy. No amount of money is worth wasted years of life, and yes, I completely agree that traitors should be punished this way. New Zealand has announced a new $9.8 million aid to Ukraine. The funds will be used for military and humanitarian aid, Ukrainian ambassador to Australia and New Zealand, Vasyl Miroshnichenko said. This is pleasant and slightly unexpected news for me. New Zealand is so far away from us, and I'm so glad that the country decided to allocate money, a lot of money, to support us. Part of this amount will be used for the production of new drones, and other part will be used for humanitarian and medical needs. Thank you, Kiwis, we are very grateful, and I hope to see your beautiful country one day, sometimes after the war, if I survive it, of course. Let's get back to the zoo. Yesterday, the Russian embassy in US held an official reception called Luncheon on occasion of the presidency of Russian Federation in the United Nations Security Council, at which the traditional Ukrainian dish Kyiv cutlet was served. Here it is listed on the menu as chicken Kyiv served with potato pale. What cynicism! You could have served some of your own dishes. You have your own national dishes, right? Grass with jellied meat, a pig's head in jelly, or whatever you cannibals eat. In this small menu, they purposefully and cynically inserted a dish from Kyiv, which they had just bombed. This can be compared to how Putin laid memorial flowers at the monument to the hero city of Kyiv on the 9th of May in 2022. Then he was already quite actively bombing us. You know, you can look forever at fire, water, and how Russians cynically steal other people's things and destroy what they cannot steal. How they destroyed my Mariupol, for example. Please know that despite all the hatred and contempt, I do the impossible. I try to avoid direct insults. But it's better for you not to know what I think about all the Russians who are involved in this war. Okay, I had to study the situation with Mahdi, and I found an interesting description of the situation from the author of the Resurgam channel. Realpolitik is not about strategy, but about a set of short-term reactions that are not based on strict compliance with ideological, moral, or ethical standards, but on a pragmatic vein of the price-result ratio in the short term. In fact, these are Bismarck's principles for maintaining his own popularity. In simple words, this means that Mahdi went to meet a bloody dictator and hugged so nicely to get short-term benefits. How does India benefit and what problems do they solve? First, Modi went to arrange the return of Indians fighting alongside Russian army in Ukraine back to India. Second, approximately 2,500 tanks of the Indian army are Soviet-era tanks, and they received all the spare parts from Russia, of course. Third, India wants to compete with China in its region, and as we know, Putin loves Xi and is now completely dependent on his support. Here my attention was drawn to the phrase that world politics is not about values but about benefits. It's primitive, but I always forget about it. Everyone wants personal gain first. And here it should be said that despite all the apparent friendship, India made a number of significant changes not in favor of Moscow, but in its own favor. The main thing is that India didn't agree to use the RuPay payment system and the launch of the Russian Mir payment system in India. The warning from the United States on the first day of Modi's visit probably played a huge role here. So that's the bottom line. It seems that Putin received a formal support from India, but it seems that he didn't win anything big. Quote from Narendra Modi: "As a friend, I have always said that for a bright future of our next generation, peace is our utmost importance. But I almost know that solutions are not possible on the battleground. In the midst of bombs, guns and bullets, solutions and peace talks do not succeed. We will have to follow the peace path only through talks. When innocent children are murdered, one sees them die, then the pain is unbearable." Nothing new. Make your own conclusions if you like. Be that as it may, the war in Ukraine continues. I don't think about when it will end, when Putin gets tired or Russians understand that they are criminals. I think about the fact that we have lived another day and victory and freedom are another whole day closer. Somewhere over the horizon there is a date when we will say that this war is over and I'll go home and sit for a long time looking at my haze of sea. In the meantime, I do what I can to make this day one step closer. Thanks to everyone who is providing any kind of support to Ukraine right now. We're holding on with your help. This was my update on the Russian-Ukrainian war for day 868. Take care and I'll see you tomorrow.